Hello, friends, and welcome to Viviam Maria Live. It's such a pleasure to have your company here today, as I am very excited for a great, how can you say, excursion through this music. We're all the way from Miami. We're going all the way right here today through Amsterdam with my very special guest, Lucas van Merwijk. He's a drummer, percussionist, band leader, also composer, arranger, who's been on the forefront of the European and jazz and Latin music scene, the percussion scene as well. Among many accolades, he was elected the best jazz drummer and best fusion drummer in the Benelux countries, and so many more accolades I will be sharing with you on this long career, uh, um, celebrating celebrating here today with all of you. So, Lucas, welcome.
Thank you very much, Vivian. It's great to be on your show. Very exciting.
Likewise, likewise. It's really so exciting because for so many years, I've been doing my show since 1995, so it's been many years. It actually coincides, and we'll go back in time, but it actually coincides with the birth of the Cubop City Big Band that I know
Mhm.
has a brand new album. We'll be, talking more about it, having a little listen to it, and of course the whole trajectory. But it's very exciting because I remember since the very beginning of enjoying that very first project, I fell in love with the orchestra, and I'm excited about this new production that again we're going to share with our viewers and listeners today. So again, welcome to the show as we take this musical excursion, if you may.
Thank you very much, and let's see what happens.
Yes,
Good
yes, yes.
music.
So,
Yeah.
mhm. So, well, first off, so our friends know the brand new production that you've been listening on my show already is called El Inolvidable, which is a tribute to the great late Tito Rodriguez. And again, it's a magnificent production by Lucas van Merwijk and the Cubop City Big Band. We'll be talking about that more, but I want to go back in time of you as a child, where you were born, and your first love with drums. Because I think was that your first instrument, and how did you get all connected with music?
Yeah. Well, I was like a typical drummer, a kid banging all the time on pots and pans, and like one of those busy kids, annoying. Always with sticks and on. I used to create my own drum sets and etc. And this was in the '60s, and later growing up at high school, playing in the music that was of that time, which was actually rock music, punk music. I came from that here in the Netherlands. I was like punk drummer and
Hmm.
rock. I had my black
Oh,
dyed
cool.
hair and leather, and it was
Oh,
there was a that was my actually funny enough that was my background. My parents used to play jazz music and Coltrane and stuff and Stan Getz and a lot of that kind of music. But actually, I was kind of that years, those years, the '70s, a little bit rebellious and playing
mhm.
that, more like revolution music. And I was the Sex Pistols that time. That was really like that was my music at that time until I moved to Amsterdam, and this was around '79, '80s, and then I got in touch with I started to study jazz music, and I very soon I got in touch with Latin musicians uh, that moved from New York to Amsterdam, and
Mhm.
I had been playing in a band called the Big Bamboo Party Time Calypso Band. So I had been playing calypsos, and
Mhm.
the leader of that band, he was also very much into cachao.
Oh,
So we
yes.
had this, the Cuban Jam Sessions album, Jam Sessions,
At that
this
time.
until I went moved to Amsterdam.
Mhm.
Oh, I hear myself, my own voice again. But the so they he was into cachao, and we used to check out those albums. And uh, at one of those moments, the Latinos who were had moved there was Leslie Lopez, the bass player, Jose
Yes.
Avila, Jody Vera. There was a kind of Latin scene, and this was really the beginning of the salsa wave, the house. There was really starting to make waves, and a lot of salsa bands came up at that time. And they heard there's this Dutch drummer who plays Latin stuff. So let's check him out. So very soon I started to play with them, and after that I never left. It stuck with me, the Latin thing. I play with those musicians, and there were Amsterdam soon became the Latin heart of
Mhm.
Europe, Latin music. You know, so because of our Dutch connection the
Yeah.
Dutch Antilles, the Dutch Latin islands. You know, we had a lot of Latinos living here in Amsterdam, so it was a good ground for the music to flourish, to grow. So we had a lot of salsa clubs, a lot of salsa bands, a lot of salsa festivals, and I used to play there all the time. And that's how I learned. That was the school for me. And so playing
I know there was
salsa, do.
also, but there's a
Mhm.
very instrumental time in the 80s when you visit you with Oscarito Valdez, and
Right.
imagine being in the roots, the real, the
Yeah.
original, if you may, in Cuba, the island that, was gave birth to all those
Yes.
rhythms.
Yeah, so what happened is I started playing this band, but I played timbales, but I was a drummer, and I heard this band Afro Cuba, Oscarito Valdez, and I heard they had been playing in the Netherlands over here, and that album and the live records that totally blew my mind. What Oscarito was doing on the drum set at that time, I said, "This is amazing!" So I have to check that out, and I had one cassette tape that I was all the time listening over and over, like thousands of times. What's he doing here and there and there? So, and then at a certain moment, it was around 85, I went to Havana and to study with him. But of course, this was before internet, before everything. So we just
Yes.
went there. Of course, Cuba was just opening up a little bit. We were the kind of first guys going there. Later on, a lot of people went to study there, but I just went to Havana, and somebody had given me his telephone number, and I went there, and it was amazing. Went to his house, studying the drums, playing drums, and um, went to rehearsals with the band Afro Cuba, and so that was the beginning for me to transpose the Latin rhythms to drum set, and it was for me also like a discovery search. Like now there are books and videos, but at that time there was not so much information. So it was
Correct.
really exciting to be a part of that discovery, and yeah, so that was the whole process, and actually. I remember going there in Havana, going to in the city. Somebody said, "Yeah, you should go there, Casa de la Cultura. Tonight's a great band playing." And that was Proyecto with Gonzalo Rubalcaba and Horacio, and they were still
Mira,
unknown. Nobody, you know, what is this? This is it was totally insane, This,
yes.
you know, Horacio, and of course I'm still in touch with him. But
Yes.
those two drummers, Oscarito and Horacio, for me they were really important in
Hmm.
in the development of in Latin drum sets. So that was a uh, big journey for me. And well, another big important moment was seeing Machito play here in the Netherlands, early 80s. Yeah, he was just not long before his death in was 84, 85, I'm not sure.
Right.
I saw
In
him play in 82, and that made a big impression on me to see that band play live with Chocolate and his son playing timbales and his daughter singing Paula. And anyway, so that was actually for me the trigger to start later on to start the Cubop City Big Band.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And of course, that
Mm,
first album, as we know,
yeah.
the Machito Project, which is
Yeah.
magnificent.
Yes. Uh-huh. So that was the first album. That was actually a producer of EMI. He said, "Lucas, you get a carte blanche. You can do whatever you want. What would you like to do?" And then I said, "Well, I always have in mind that concert that I saw Machito. We saw him play here. It would be fantastic if I can hear that sound live. So I didn't have the intention to make it a working band or to continue with that band. I thought of it as just a single
Look at
production.
that.
So with that band, yeah. So we he said, well, you have a studio 2 days and do whatever you want. So uh, we had some arranges. This was pretty much at that time was pretty much copying the originals. We
Mm.
the only thing we added to the trombones because normally Machito was just trumpets and saxophones, were no bones. So, but we made
Mhm.
it a full band. So we did a few transitions, but we did it in 2 days the whole album, and
Oh,
it was
amazing.
live. And actually, from the first day to the second day at night, my third son was born in
Oh,
between those 2 days. So Charlie, so that's why every time his birthday now, oh, the band exists another year. It's another year on top.
brings you back. Wow. In the background, I'm playing a little bit of it. You can hear those trombones that you were talking about. Wow, beautiful. Consternación.
Yeah.
Uh, takes you back in takes you back in time to when you did that album, but
Right.
also takes you back in time to what the Palladium years, the Cuba,
Yeah.
all that, right?
Totally. Yes. Machito Mario Bausa, that time, which music, Latin music was so elegant, so rich, and the
Mhm.
sound of the big bands was, that swing, and uh, there was for me a inspiration, and actually continuous. There has been still a continuous inspiration to continue with the band, and but that
And
was
even
the
with the
first.
name, the
And when we
Cubop.
did that band, sorry.
No, I'm saying also because of the fact of finding that name of the Cubop, the creation of the Cubop, thinking of I
Yeah,
think it was a
cool. Yeah,
club, and also the
right.
yes.
Yeah, so Cubop and Bebop, Cuba and Bebop mixed Cubop. So
Hmm.
where you are
Correct.
from, of course, there's more logic. Here in Europe, people are not so familiar with that type of music. So I had to do some teaching there to the audience. But
Yes.
yeah, and then, well, after Machito, I started to dive into the music. Yeah, well, what else is there? And of course, the big three, as they were
Mm-hmm.
called, Tito, Tito Puente, Tito Rodriguez, that had been kind of a line throughout the years. And now, finally, with this album, the El Inolvidable, the the latest album, we kind of finished that off. The that project, the Big Three, Palladium Big Three, within the band's existence.
Hmm.
And I'm making a little jump here now, but from
No, but it's
from
good.
Machito to but it's all connected. Machito, Tito Rodriguez, Tito Puente, of course, and
Mhm.
so the first album was Machito. We did another tribute to Tito Puente. That was live in the Bim House with uh, Andy
Yes.
Gonzalez on bass. Andy Gonzalez, as he,
Yes. That's
yeah,
wonderful. Mhm.
and that was, of course, fantastic to do that music, but it was even more uh, for me personally incredible to play with Andy, one of my huge heroes. And he
Yes.
actually, I'm now in my studio house. Andy was here, and he was staying in the house, and even
Oh,
cooking for us, and there was uh, um, so great memories there. And I'm really happy that it's been recorded live. Um,
absolutely. Wow.
yeah. hmm
Super
and
cool.
yeah, so another person that has been uh, really important for the band is Eddie Martinez, the piano
Oh,
player.
absolutely. The Colombian pianist,
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah. So after Machito, we continue with another album, with
Oh,
music of Benny Moret. And yeah,
mhm.
that one. Yeah, that's the one. Moret and Moore. And
Yes.
I had been playing with Eddie here in Europe, in Paris, with a percussionist called Henri Gadon, and that's we toured in Paris, in France, and Tunisia, and
Mhm.
uh, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Oh.
Eddie did fantastic work arranging, and he also for the last album he wrote a few arrangements
Mhm.
for this album,
It's
and
been a long relationship, one wonderful working
yeah,
relationship
yeah,
with
yeah,
Eddie.
yeah.
There's that medley, Benny Moré medley.
Right.
What's that album? 1997 for that one.
That's right.
Castellano, qué bueno baila usted.
Wow.
Castellano, qué bueno baila usted. Castellano, qué bueno baila usted. Castellano, qué bueno baila usted.
Smoking.
Yeah. What I noticed is it's very fun. I don't play that album so often myself, but what I noticed, and it's funny to notice that this was really fast. We've been playing it actually. Now I'm now in the process of mixing a live concert that we did a few weeks back, which was the existence of the band 25 years or 27 years now with the COVID, but
Right.
and we went through all the repertoire, and we also played this one, but we're playing it much slower now. so, so maybe the years, the age, but I don't know. But
I
that was
think you know what? You've heard of Juanito Marquez? I don't know, the composer, arranger, guitarist. So Juanito's 93 years old, and he's part of our Miami community. He's doing well. He's not really writing anymore, although recently, just a few years ago, he was writing. And then when we sit back to listen to songs, or recordings from the 50s and 60s with his
yeah,
band, he tells me the same thing. He's like, "This is so fast." It's like, I guess it's that young,
yeah.
the age and just the energy, and
You don't notice until you just
until
think,
you hear it again.
"Whoa, we were really eager, and but anyway, that's another thing we just did. We did. It's going to be for television. It's going to be sold to TV stations. It's really done really well with a lot of cameras and multi-track. So we're now mixing it. Anyway, that's why exactly this moment that you choose to hit to play. I didn't know that you were going to. That's exactly the tune that we did there. So then you notice what is it was almost twice as fast.
So we have, and just for our viewers who are joining us from all over the world, I'm here with Lucas van Merwijk, drummer, percussionist, a composer, band leader, and we'll talk about many of his different, settings, if you may, of music. His brand new album of the Cubop City Big Band, which is the El Inolvidable, highly recommended, and I've been, featuring it on my show, and of course, as well here today. We're going to continue talking more about it. Thank you, Jules, for magnificent. We're getting the audience. Feel free to drop your questions or your comments in the
Uh-huh.
chat as we go along. If you have any questions as well for Lucas, or just overall anything that you'd like to share with us, it gives us great joy. So again, everyone, thanks so much for being with us this afternoon and evening over in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Yes. So we continue this beautiful walk through some of these magnificent recordings with the Cubop City Big Band. But I also want to so I know that we talked about the More and More, and then there's a live in The Hague, right? I think after that, or if you want to mention anything else, feel free to do so as we
Yeah.
continue our conversation here today.
So no, More, Eddie Martinez, and
Yes.
that album actually. So the Machito album was more. We stayed pretty much with the originals of Machito.
Mhm.
More and more was really Eddie's voice as an arranger, as a genius arranger, I would say this. And that album also made some waves, I think, outside of Europe. There was noticed in the charts in the Latin beat, and people were playing that. I was really excited about that, and thanks for Eddie. And
Oh, I do want to bring up, yeah, that came number 2 in the Latin Beat magazine as best Latin album, right? I mean, that's
yeah, there was at that time Latin beat, so we were
so,
really being played at the radio stations, and
yes.
yeah, that was exciting for me, for the band, of course. Like, hey, wow, this is. But it was we had a great band with great musicians. Ima America,
Oh,
a good singer, and thanks to all those musicians and Eddie's work that we had this success there, and then your question was the next album, right?
oh, no, no, no. I'm
Okay.
happy that we went back to Benny Morea more because I think again we're transitioning as a band already, incorporating Eddie and just
Yeah.
getting its own voice, if you may.
That's it.
So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. No, I want to continue, going into each one because I think it's so marvelous and I think it's
Yeah.
well worth it. We're celebrating, as we said, now in 2021, right? Was the anniversary.
Yeah.
Or 2020? No, when was it? Yeah, 2025 anniversary.
Yeah. In 2020, it was 25 years. And now
25
we are.
Mhm.
Yeah. But
And-
anyway, the Live in the Hague album, there was a mix of Machito music and the More and More, and we had
Mhm.
Chocolate Armenteros
Oh.
playing with us. Yeah, he was at those concerts that I mentioned earlier with Machito here in Amsterdam. So I saw him play there. So it was fantastic to have him in the band. He was a fantastic character, really playing fantastic, and so beautiful lyric, and he made a huge impression on everybody in the trumpet section here.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, we're talking about, and here's a little bit of chocolate. That's so chocolate. I like it. Super beautiful. And of course, also, oh, there you are, no?
Yeah, that was me.
And of course, a beautiful piano of Eddie Martinez there.
Yeah, actually, I think this is Mark on the piano.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Because it was a mix of two concerts.
Probably.
It was two different shows, one with Chocolate and one with Eddie Martinez. We mixed that together on this album.
On the
Yeah.
album.
Yeah. Mhm.
So it's playing in the background. Feel free to share, any other comments on that, or continue with this beautiful trajectory of great recordings and performances.
Mhm.
So, yeah, the opportunity again of having Chocolate, who comes from the old times, if you may, the Benny Morer or era, and coming to America. He came to New York. He started bringing the traditional sounds, if you may. So that was a great opportunity to connect with the tradition, if you may, and learning from him. As you said, a big impact for the trumpeters, probably of the band.
Yeah, for the whole band, although we have Latinos in the band, Ima America, but the band was at that time, it was majorly was Dutch people. Dutch we are. So and then they have you have a guy like Alfredo Chocolate coming in the bed. That's the real deal, so. And the same thing actually with Eddie. So we actually all the musicians that we had in the band, Nelson Gonzalez, that
Mhm.
is here, and uh, all of them bringing the we needed that as the band to have you can do a lot of work here, but every now and then you need to play with the real deal to it's just a little different
But you know
edge.
what? It's
Yeah,
very commendable having a Dutch band, mostly musicians who are not Latin, Cuban, Hispanic, whichever way you want to call it, and doing such exquisite work, such elegant and well played, and of course bringing in those additional members adds maybe their experience, their knowledge, their sound, their
yeah,
style. So it's a great addition, but it's highly. I've always admired that very much of having that. Having the beautiful work that you have done in Europe, in the Netherlands, and also throughout the world as this music continues being played. And again, really coming, not really being if you might make Cuban, Latino, or something. So that's also very admirable indeed.
yeah. Well, I think it's important that this music is people know about this music, and the people hear it being done well. I think that's important. The music deserves that, and also like Tito Rodriguez. I mean, a big name where you're from. Here, nobody knows Tito Rodriguez, in except a few Latinos. But even Machito people,
Yes.
Tito Puente, yes, because of Oye Como Va, and some might know him, but this is Europe. So, and I feel it like a little bit of my responsibility to educate people there. So, and that's why I always in my concerts I talk a little bit about the background of the music, of where it's coming from. Of course, Cuba, Puerto Rico, but also the travel that the music made to New York,
Yeah.
where Harlem, Spanish Harlem, the beginning of the mix with let's say Latin music, Cuban music with American music or jazz, and then evolving into what it became later on, and boogaloo, Latin soul, salsa,
Mhm.
that whole line. It's important that people understand a little bit where it's coming from. It's not just the happy Latin music. That's the stereotype picture that a lot of people have over here. So and it doesn't do justice to the depth of the music, I think, and that's
Correct.
yeah. And that's why it's important that's I inform a little bit, not too much, but during the concerts I try to give the audience a little bit of information about that. So
Well, yeah, yeah, and I know you're an educator, and we'll also go into that. But it's very, very important indeed. Like as you said, this is not something that just started or just for dancing and not listening, but really there's a depth in history here. The improvisations of the musicians, all that is so important, and the history of the audiences who might not know where did it all come from, and
yeah,
at the same time the work that you're doing. So that's very, very important that people learn more about it. And it's important because sometimes, with a credit of the composer, the arrangers, as well as, again, a concert where you might just find people to go and enjoy themselves. No, you're going to also learn something when you
right,
when you go and enjoy one of your performances.
yeah. And we started about 3 or 4 years ago a project called The Soul of New York Spanish Harlem, which really tells the story about Latin music developing in Harlem and the journey there. Now we rebranded it to Latin Devils, also
Yeah.
because of the fact that people were not, you always have to deal with selling a show or selling it
Yes.
to theaters or to audiences, and you have to find a way. At least here, we have to find a way to reach the
Branded, you mean?
audience and make it kind of trigger them to go there. So this is a show with dance. It has 9 musicians, 10 dancers, and no,
Wow.
10 musicians. Yeah, and we're gonna next weekend we have shows here in Germany again. Uh, we were having a rough time with the COVID to keep it
Mhm.
going, but I'm happy it's still we're still there. we're still doing it. And but this is really about 100 years of Latin music,
Wow.
as people know it now, and then explain where it's coming from.
I get
Bogatan, Boogaloo stuff. It's really
that.
a fun thing to do. Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's beautiful again. And the same thing with the branding, like when we say, salsa, you're not gonna talk about all the various genres that are made up of what is known as salsa. That is a very catchy word that I think anyone who speaks any language could say salsa. It's a very simple way to interconnect with, the rumba, the mambo, the guaracha, the song, even, the newer other genres that have joined in, like the plena and bomba, that and are incorporated into what salsa or even Latin jazz is. So it's good that anything that we can do to bring an awareness of this great music and the rhythms and everything, it's good. It's part of the marketing, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful indeed.
Right. Yeah. No, that's important. And I want to play this music, and I always try to find ways to do that. And I've been involved in projects that are musically, let's say, more for musicians, or less. It's like Latin jazz and stuff. With Manteca, Nueva Manteca was one of the bands. I've been in that band for over 30 years, and there was we were kind of, for European standards, groundbreaking in mixing Latin music with. That was an instrumental band with jazz and hip-hop, and we have been working also with musicians from New York, and Nicky Madero was in the band for a while, and so that was also a huge school. And but I still enjoy playing that type of music. At the same time, I'm trying to reach audiences also, and that's a challenge also with the big band, like as I talked, give people some information, background, and then they know what they're listening to, and it gives it, they listen different just because of that fact. Yeah.
Indeed.
But anyway,
so then we've gone through some of the albums, and then now another time that you have a great collaboration is for the Arsenio, the tribute to Arsenio Rodriguez with Arsenio. Also another great masterpiece of a production. If we want to talk a little bit about it as well.
Well, there was, of course, one of the Arsenio, the genius pioneers of Cuban music, innovators, and of course, diving into in the history of Cuban music, he's always there. He always pops up, innovating stuff, and we invited here again Eddie Martinez he wrote incredible charts, and we Nelson Gonzalez, the tres player, from
Puerto Rico,
Puerto Rico, New York, and we asked him over here in the studio, and that I was really proud of that album, actually, and to have him there, and it came out really well, and I'm all the albums, but this one particular has brings back great memories, and it was. Later I found out that one of the Mulata Rumberas on that album is one of the tunes that has been used for a long time, actually, in New York for opening for Andy. Andy was here, Andy Gonzalez, and we played that tune. He said, "Hey, that's you! This has been opening tune for what's the name of one of the radio shows."
Oh my God!
Yeah. That was funny. But anyway, Arsenio Rodriguez. I mean, you could do like maybe 10 or 20 tribute albums with only his repertoire, only endless. So there was actually again, thanks to the great work of Eddie arranging there. And I'm happy, as I said, that now the new album, we actually, I wanted Eddie to do more stuff, but he suddenly I couldn't reach him anymore. He had been so yeah. So I'm happy that at the end he could do two tunes, La Ley del Guaguancó and Abariba Cumbiaremos. He did, but at the last moment we had to ask somebody to take over one of the tunes. He's from, I think he lives in Miami. Pablo Gil, you know Pablo Gil, the
Oh,
saxophone
Pablo
player.
Gil, of course,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, 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 yeah. So he helped us out with one of the tunes. El que se,
Mhm.
actually I jumped back to this album now,
Yeah,
but
and
yeah, but
here's that arrangement from Eddie that you were mentioning. Yeah,
oh yeah, yeah.
he has your solo, a really great solo as well. Yeah, a little bit.
Arriba cumbiaremos, baila negro mi tumbao. Arriba cumbiaremos, baila negro mi compás.
It's so Eddie, so beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. It's so Eddie. Yeah, he has a unique way of hearing harmony. Harmony and rhythm is really his own. Uh, Very often when we get his charts, we need to spend some work on it. Sometimes you get charts they play themselves like easily. With Eddie, sometimes what did he mean there? What did he mean? So we have to kind of construct it, and it's always been with him like this. Like in the second or third time you play it, it starts to fall. The pieces start to fall together,
Mm.
and he's been really important. And for me personally as well, it's such a great musician. I always have this picture of him. I was doing a tour with him with Henri Gadon in Tunisia, and we were in a bus in the desert in Tunisia. It was like 40 degrees Celsius. That I don't know how much that is in your, but it was smoking, and everybody was complaining, "Oh, this is so hot." And so Eddie, he had this little book with, this was before telephones, before computers. He had this little book with uh, uh, um, arrangements, compositions of classical composers with little. So he had to read it with a magnifying glass. He was really studying the music, and everybody was complaining. He was just there, like
Yes.
totally into music. And that always stick in my mind. How
Oh,
this so dedicated to music. It's an incredible musician. Yeah,
yes, he is, and it's so great that you've had his pencil there with you throughout the albums, and
yeah,
and,
yeah,
uh, and we still have him around with us. I mean, he's still young, but you know how it is. Sometimes we lose many of the composers, in fact, that are from the different albums in here. Practically, they're all they're no longer with us. So again,
yeah.
keeping their legacy alive through this music is so important for current and new generations and upcoming generations everywhere. Not only
That's true.
us.
It is. It's true. He's still here. He's now in New York. He travels around, but no, it's true. We learn from the. I think it's really important to study the masters before us and to play with musicians from every age. But to have somebody like Eddie write for the band, it's a gift. But
Yeah.
also our arrangers in the band, Mark Bischoff and
Mhm.
Ilya out, Norman Peplov and now Pablo Gil. I mean, um, they know the tradition and they come from that tradition, and they also did great writing, and they developed
Yes.
also learning how to write for Latin big band. It's you have to know a lot of stuff. It's different than writing for jazz big band or whatever big band. You have to learn all those, be aware of the history of that type of music. Yeah.
Correct, correct.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, yes. Friends, I'm here with Lucas van Merwijk, my special guest today, as we are traveling. Of course, we're super excited and about his brand new recording of the Cubop City Big Band and Inolvidable. Highly recommended. You can still, you can find it through the website. You can find it. It's brand new. It's just released, in September, just several weeks ago, to the world. And it's accessible through and I'm gonna put later in the chat the information for you to be able to get this album, because many of the albums, Lucas, that we've been talking about are sold out. The actual printed CDs are sold out, but of course people can still go to the website and still get them as digital downloads, right?
Yeah, a few of them are still physical. I send them all over the world, but once they're sold out, sometimes it's not really profitable to reprint the whole thing again, because it's just a few people who buy it. But no, like the last one, Earth, Wind and Fire, Latino Star, that's still available. Que Sensación is still available. People can go to the website and they can see it. But as you say, otherwise streaming or there are
Mhm.
platforms, they are available. Yeah.
And nowadays, a lot of people, can love to enjoy this music on their cars or their mobile phones. So I know that the only, collectors who get, have hundreds and hundreds of LPs here in my house and still some CDs, because still at the station we play through the CDs, because of course a music lover loves to sit and read on all these wonderful, credits and seeing the photos and everything. So
Yeah.
that's why it's still a jewel. And I know it was a lot of work and lots of labor of love of people who joined through the crowdfund, right, for getting
Right.
this album out, which kudos to everyone who contributed to making it a reality.
Yes, of course. Thanks to all those people doing that, and I think it's really a different feeling holding a little book and seeing reading the info and the photos, and I enjoy making that. It's otherwise, for the platforms you only have the cover, but I was always interested in when was it recorded, where, and all those things. So it was
Yes.
already downgrading from the albums to CD but now it's almost gone.
Correct.
So it's really important that people know what happened there. Who wrote this and who arranged it, who was soloing and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes, I think that's part of our big mission to, fight for the credit, the right information to be spread out, the education that cannot miss, that cannot be, it has to be there, whether it be in an album. Now, if we continue going, and I know, mostly with what you've done with, the Cubop City Big Band, but also there was in 2006, the Latin vocal explosion, where you have 3 female vocalists. I know Ima America has always been part of, Cubop City, and but including now also Lilian in Iselin. Let's talk a little bit about this one.
Yeah, actually, that's my daughter there on the cover.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful.
That's Jana, who was also a drummer and percussionist, and she's coming out. We're working on her new album actually.
Oh,
Next, yeah, we start next. This will come out in a few months, hopefully. Uh,
posted. Keep me
she's
posted, of
playing,
course.
she plays the violin, she plays drums. I will send you. the
Please do, of course.
Well, anyway, this was our 10 years jubileum at that time. It was 2005. Yeah, and Lillian, she's Brazilian. Iselin is from Curaçao, the Dutch, one of Dutch Caribbean, former Dutch Caribbean islands, and was fantastic to have those 3 singers together, because they were together in the same year in the school where I used to teach Latin music and world music. They were students, so it was actually for them personally it was fantastic to play together with each other. And but Lillian, she's a fantastic singer, of course, and now she is doing a lot of her own stuff, and also promoting Dutch Caribbean music, Antillean music, singing her language, Papiamento. And there's a lot of great music coming from those islands. They have a rhythm called Tambu in Tumba, and Salsa Antillana, they call it. And actually, we did with the Cubop City Big Band recently, a few months back, we did a project uh, with playing that type of music. We did a concert on the North Sea Jazz Festival with Randall Corson, the piano player, and we took only this repertoire, tumba repertoire, and Antillean salsa, and arranged it for a big band. It was done fantastically by Randall Corson, piano player. And if you have time, I will check him out as well, because I will send you some info. He's an incredible player, and it's very interesting stuff. That's a little, of course, Cuba, Puerto Rico, but we have this little island that Latin music developed there in its own little.
Yes.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
It's important to bring it up in the background. I'm actually playing a little bit of the album, the Latin Vocal Explosion, and some of the images I know that you were talking about, the North Sea Jazz Festival. Look at the crowd.
Yeah.
Wow. You can tell there's a lot of love for that and interest. You know? So, and Lucas, so as we continue, and thank you for everyone who's joining us. And I know there's going to be a lot of people joining us at different times, after the transmission. But I'm getting some, messages of viewers who are really enjoying the conversation, the music, who are really excited about it. So thank you. Keep writing those messages and sending in messages or questions in the chat as well, and we'll be happy to share. And as we continue, so we have. Well, we talked about the tribute to Tito Puente and Andy Gonzalez, and I know you spoke earlier about the Que Sensación album that actually goes into, it's almost like a tribute, if you may, to Afro Cuba, Emiliano Salvador,
right.
And even there's a Paquito de Rivera that you're doing there, so we can talk about a little bit about that one as well.
Yeah, this is actually. The name of the album was the name of a tune by Grupo Afro Cuba. Actually, Omar Hernandez, one of the arrangers, composers for the band. And we still play this tune, Que Sensación. It's a genius tune. I think it's incredible harmonics, lyrics, and it was really pioneer work there. That group was fantastic, and we played a little bit slower than the original. I don't know if you heard that. The original version, the Sensación, is ridiculous fast. But it's one of my favorite tunes ever. And we played it with the big band. Now, the big band, of course, by nature is it's big. So it makes it a bit heavy and a bit the natural ways to everything is a little bit late, but this tune has to be played really light and swinging, and that has been a challenge for the band. But so we that was the title track of Que Sensación of this album. But Emiliano Salvador, A Puerto Padre, we played there was a fantastic arrangement by Mark Bischoff, our player and arranger. And this was kind of a tribute to, let's say, the pioneers of Cuban music, Cuban jazz music. And I also think it's important that people know about that. It's so many incredible musicians in Cuba. It's especially that time that I was there in the 80s, and it was
like a switch. I think you think back to tradition, 50s, and all that, but then you think of the 80s. It was a twist, around same thing, right? The impact of bands like this one another's. Yeah. Just a little more.
Yo he sentido una cosa mejor, ya las penas muy lejos dejó, y ahora vivo con felicidad, porque te conocí caridad. Ay, qué sensación sentí cuando me dijo que sí. Andando por la vida con esa joven emprendida de
And then, of course, you have, in addition to Ima America, that throughout so many years, but you have these other
Yeah.
male vocalists, right? That are
This is Miguel Montenegro. He's from Panama. He was in the band for a while, and he's not anymore. But he was also a bass player, and actually, he was one of those musicians that I mentioned earlier. When I just started playing Latin music, I started to play with him, and we both liked that album so much, the Grupo Afro Cuba, because we had seen them here in Netherlands, and he knew every word of that original. So for him, it was also very exciting to sing that tune. And and you must know that the original was not so much with horns; it was synthesizer stuff, like 80s,
right, very 80s.
Sound. So we like, and but we both love that album, and I can hear it back now. Hearing him sing that. He had this beautiful voice. Now it's done. We're now singing with Alberto Caicedo from Colombia in the band for maybe 10 years now. I'm not sure. Fantastic singer as well, and they make a great couple. Ima and Alberto, they great mixing of voices, and they understand each other. And I'm so thankful, grateful to have those great singers in the band. There's the picture. Yeah, see. So right, that's Ima there, and left that's Alberto. And
great energy, indeed.
Yeah, it's great energy. This was right before the television recording we did last month. So, so much talent, so much good vibes, and Alberto, he said we have to check that out, because the album of I'm making a little jump, Earth, Wind and Fire, the Earth, Wind and Fire Latino thing that we did. He said, Lucas, maybe you should check it out, because that song that we did, Fantasy, was it's becoming a little bit of a hymn, like in Colombia. People are singing that all the time in the in the discos, and they say, wow, that's exciting. So and then I saw the YouTube charts and the likes and stuff. A lot of views there, and actually I didn't realize, because I don't look so much on the YouTube. I don't keep track of that, but I did, because of this album was also automatically released on YouTube, and then I started to looking back. Yeah, that's the one. And he sent me videos of people singing that in the nightclubs, singing that. Yeah.
Beautiful. Let's hear a little bit of it.
Tenemos un lugar dentro del el corazón donde guardamos las fantasías. Y podemos viajar y hasta imaginar que los sueños se harán realidad. Juntos estaremos con suerte hasta el siglo siguiente. Las voces sonando por siempre y cantar. El pensar es soñar y a veces con afán de llevar la vida por camino y podemos viajar.
Another amazing band, Earth, Wind and Fire, and what a beautiful, I don't know, I don't think I've heard other tributes like this one.
Nah, yeah. Usually people sing in when they do a tribute to Earth, Wind and Fire. They sing in English, and this was translated, and it became what I understand a little bit of a different meaning. The lyrics, and maybe that's the reason that people start to singing it, singing this one especially, and. This was an arrangement by Oscar Hernandez, Spanish Harlem Orchestra piano player, and I remember when I told him about the plans of. He said, "Well, I'm not sure if Earth with the Fire Latin." He was kind of doubting. He said, "Is this a good idea?" But he did a few arrangements. They turned out really nice, I think, in the end. And it was a bit off track that we off a side step, which we did a few of them, but we also did Otro Mundo, music of Colombia and Venezuela with Roberto Quintero here, and we did a project with Edma Castañeda, the harp player. But this, I also consider this a little bit off the line of Cubop, or let's say we're more tradition, Machito, Tito Puente, Arsenio. That this was a little bit off, but yeah, people liked it, and I also like the album. It's a bit different.
It is.
Yeah.
Beautiful indeed. And as we continue progressing through the years, and I know there's a lot of other things that we'll quickly touch upon. Because there's a lot of history here, but it's so important. I think again, the same way as we work so hard to preserve the tradition and the history of what happened. Also, you have a lot of over 35 years of amazing music. History as well in Netherlands and around the world. So that's important to highlight those things, of course, and gives us great memories as all these years that we've been playing all this music, right? Now, you do a tour, like a 25-year tour in Shanghai, right? You guys go to tour after COVID. So COVID, I know, slows down everyone and everything, and then you have the 25-year anniversary celebration, but there's then the opportunity of being able to tour and bring out the music, right?
Well, we are touring again here in the Netherlands and also in outside Netherlands, Europe. We are planning now to go again out of Europe. Actually, China. I have been there the last 10 years, almost like 3 times a year. I used to go there for different things. We've toured with the Cubop City Big Band there, Shanghai Jazz Festival. I was also involved in teaching in China in here you got the picture there. That's an institute called 9 Beats, a drum school, and I think it's the biggest school in the world at the moment with 200,000 drum students.
Wow.
And they have like 2,000. It's huge. They have all over China. They have these drum schools, and I've been very lucky and fortunate to be part of it. I do a lot of Latin rhythms. Because that's totally empty. They don't know about that. So there's a lot of work to do there, and my books are. They are studied there. I wrote a couple of books. One's called World Beat. Yeah, that has rhythms from all over the world, played on drum set. See that me with and I teach out of that book, and Yeah. So unfortunately, with COVID now, especially in China, everything is it's still locked. Here it's opening up, but China is still locked. So I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to go there again. And
Absolutely. And
I,
I
I
know there's also another
yeah,
book. I wanted to bring it up, your
mm,
second book.
that's my second book. This is really for drummers coordination exercises. That can be used for Latin music, also for any type of music. Actually, it's more developing the availability, the ability to coordinate the four limbs, either in Latin music or jazz music or pop music or world music.
Mhm.
And the other one is more about really rhythms. You want to start learning
Mhm.
rhythms. You want to know about Brazilian rhythms, Cuban rhythms, even there's Oriental stuff there, European rhythms, a lot of different things there. And the book, really, the reason that I wrote the book was because of my teaching at the Conservatory Amsterdam, Rotterdam. And every
Mhm.
lesson I was writing down again the exercises or the rhythms on the board. I say, "Oh, I have to collect them in a book. It's too It was really out of self-protection that I did it.
Oh,
But
but it's important. You see, it's important, and also on your website, you can easily find that book for those who are studying, who are getting into it, or for those who are
yeah,
more experts and they want to go more advanced as well. It's important that they know through
yeah.
the website they can acquire all that material.
It's available on the website www.lucasmerwijk, that's my name.com, or tamtamproductions.nl. That's
Yes, yes,
but
yes.
they can buy it there. Sure.
Very well, very well.
Uh,
Yeah. Oh, here they were just asking here. Are the books available
mhm.
on his website? That's excellent. So, thank you, JC. Yes, and I will go ahead and add the so maybe the Tam Tam I can put here Tam Tam Productions, right, Lucas? Dot
Tamtamproductions.nl.
and let me go ahead and I'll add that to the chat so folks can quickly acquire it, and of course your page as well. Um,
Yeah.
so that will be. You might not need to do the WW, I think, anymore, Lucas.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean,
Or just
if
my
you
name. Yeah.
.com, right?
lucasmerwijk.com.
lucasvanmerwijk.com.
.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So either of these websites, you can find it. I have it on the chat for everyone, but please be sure to check those out. And then that way you can, again, get the full scope of not only the books, but also the great material when it comes to the albums and other things that you have there. And as we continue, well, I know we've spoken about, oh, I wanted to talk about, and this is also, and I guess we always go back to the new one, the Inolvidable. Of course,
Mm.
wanted to go into well, we're talking about the different rhythms, not only the Cuban rhythms or the big band. You also have this wonderful album, the Caribbean Postcard, with your
Yeah.
music machine. So of course we have a 20-piece orchestra, but then of course, as always, we need to have a smaller setting, if you may, for different things. And this is where this project comes up. So tell me a little more about it.
Well, Caribbean Postcard. That's so my band Music Machine is really, I'm really flexible there with doing projects. I did a project with, for example, with Manu Gallo from Ivory Coast, bass player, and this last project is Caribbean Postcard. It was an imaginary trip through the Caribbean, through the islands, and from each island we took one song,
Mhm.
one specific song or rhythm, and we kind of
Mhm.
adjusted it for Latin jazz quartet. It's instrumental. It's has yeah, that's Ilja
Mhm.
Rijngoud gewoon.
Alma Llanera.
Amayanera, Venezuelan.
Uh-huh. It hurts me every time I have to bring that one solo, but
Yeah. That's Norman Peplov on the piano. Ilya Reingoud on trombone, who also did the arrangement, and Samuel Ruiz on bass, who's also in my big band. And yeah, so Caribbean postcard. I had the idea. The album also looks like we tried to make it look like a postcard that you would get
yes, super
in
pretty.
the old days. Like I was imagining travel through the Caribbean and sending a postcard home to the family or to my friends, and that's like a musical postcard. That's actually the idea behind this album. Like a trip through there, and then take a little message from every island. And send
Uh-huh.
it. Yeah,
So beautiful.
yeah.
Yes,
That
and that's
was
the feeling that you get. That's the feeling that you get. That's why I love an LP or a CD that I can keep something that I can
yeah.
look at it, right? But we know digital
I will
is.
send you. I will send you a physical copy of this one.
Oh,
I
please
will,
do. Yes. And now this is from Spain. We're getting Pelayo all the way from the south of Spain joining us. So we have the West Coast. I mean, I've seen messages from South Florida, the West Coast, and USA. And wow,
That's great.
we continue having friends joining us, and it's such a joy, right? With
Yeah.
this beautiful excursion, Lucas. And again, going back to the happiness of the brand new album, which we are excited to share with all of you. It's El Inolvidable, the music of made famous by Tito Rodriguez.
Right. Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
of the composition, even him, he was known as El Inolvidable también, no?
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit different approach, as you said, made famous by Tito Rodriguez.
Right.
With some people, you have like you really take the originals, but he maybe contribute to a few songs, but I think his strength was his voice, his musicianship, also as a timbalero and percussionist. What a singer, what a phrasing is just incredible. If you listen to as a musician, not only as a musician, but even musicians in my band had not heard of him, so I had to listen to this guy. Listen to the albums, how he phrases, how he's
Yes.
diction, everything. It's such class. It's amazing, and I think it's one of the greatest. So,
He
but
really is.
yeah.
No,
But
Tito, had from 3 islands because his mother was
yeah,
Cuban, the father Dominican, and he was born in Puerto Rico. So imagine the influence of those, within the blood and being there. And in Puerto Rico, he had a very famous TV show as well. So he
yeah,
would sing and he would introduce and he would. So it was one of the big hits. So again, it's an important figure, like you said, that many times is not known around the world or in Europe, perhaps. So it's so happy. I'm so happy that you put together the album to honor him and remember
yeah,
him. Absolutely.
yeah,
And
yeah.
mhm.
No, it's a huge inspiration, and you know, also our singers in the band, and they know about him, but it's important that other people know about him, and uh, we're not trying to imitate him or whatever. It's just our version of and a connection with him we try to establish.
Mhm. Absolutely. No, and again, it's really a matter of really paying this homage to this work. Now, Lucas, when as we another important thing, and you as an educator, which is important, but there's also another tidbit of information for drummers out there, or simply because I think it's also to be commended that they're your signatures drum
Ah,
sticks. Yay!
you want me to send those two to you? I can send.
Oh, well,
I have them here. This is Zildjian drumsticks. Yeah, I'm really proud that I have my own stick there. I've been with Zildjian for many years, and yeah, I sell them online as well. Some people they like to have them. This is my Lucas van Merwijk Zildjian signature stick. So it's a great stick. And if any drummers out there listening or are interested, they can
There
also.
are actually.
Yeah. No, I'm really proud. Actually, all my sponsors like Pearl Drum, Siljan, and Remo, and Dub microphones and cases. It's the industry is it's important as well. That they support us, and they do. So,
Mhm, mhm.
but
I love this
no,
photo because it has a little bit of everything there. Your books, your drumsticks, the CDs.
well, uh, nowadays as a musician, we have to do everything. We have to organize.
Mhm,
Me and my wife, actually, Roosje. I
mhm,
would have loved to have her, but she's out. But we have our business, Tam Tam Connect Productions, and we organize the concerts or we book the shows, and we send the CDs and the merchandise. We do everything ourselves. A little company,
mhm.
and it's a family business now with my daughter Jana also
Oh, wonderful.
preparing the new album here in the studio.
Mhm,
And I'm really fortunate to have them and great friends and musicians helping us to realize everything, to make it real, to make it happen. And you cannot do it alone. You have to really make it work with the whole band and with everybody. And so thanks
mhm.
again to everybody helping me there, helping us and my wife and the family. And it's important, but we do it for a good thing. It
Yes.
keeps us young, keeps us alive.
Right,
Yeah,
it's important, and at the same time, it's I always talk about as an artist, the business of art that is so important as well nowadays. There's a social platforms which allow us to really access more people out there, like just like when you first started with Machito, that there was no internet or not very easy to find the charts or whatever, and now the connection thanks to the web has brought us closer. Look at you, you're in Amsterdam, I'm in Miami, and your music has been heard and quickly traveling, like let's put this as so we have to take advantage of that. And sometimes the artists, the musicians, are not really thinking of the business of it or how to connect with the world. They're more creating, and I understand, but it's important to really do think of business or think of marketing, because this is the way to be. And of course you have your wife, your daughter, and the people who have really supported throughout the years to the work that you're doing.
yeah. It is important that you know a little bit about music business because that's what I tell my students. I said, do
Mhm.
everything you do, make sure that everybody knows about it. Show it to it's show business. That part, that element is show business. You have to
Yeah.
show what you're doing, and it's
Mhm.
important because otherwise you're just in your home doing your thing and nobody knows about it. So you might not like it, maybe you prefer to play over, but it's
Yeah.
just it's a part of the reality, and we have to do that. And I had to learn that. I had to really because I was I was a musician. I'm still a musician, but that but I started to like it. And now I have my business for what is it, 20. We have our business, Tom Tom Productions, for over 20 years,
Wow.
25 years,
Yes.
like that. And
Right. Yeah. Mhm.
uh, it's also very fulfilling that you organize a tour or you realize those things. And, wow, we did that, and that's
Mhm.
you know, it's
True.
it's I used to be with depending on companies or record companies
Mhm.
and they never do what you want to. They never do as much or with such passion that
Mhm.
you do. So yeah, that's my advice always to my students. I say, invest a little bit in knowledge about that as well. Booking tours, recording, making albums, even photo shoots. I always admire your work there. As I follow you and say, wow, she's
Thank you. And that's thanks to William, my
yeah,
husband too, who's so engaged with the same thing, the image, because it's important to be out
yeah,
there for people to know what you're doing and overall connecting.
yeah,
It's part of the artistic side that has to always be cultivated and repurposed and rechanged throughout the years.
yeah.
It's essential.
It is very important. Yeah. So William is doing those shoots. Fantastic. They're
Yes.
fantastic. Great
He
job.
is. He is.
It's really important. It has become more important now.
Yes.
I mean, you could the socials. Yeah, they might drive you crazy, but if you make use of them in the right way, and it can help you a lot, and that's
Yes.
what we do. Yeah.
Absolutely. Artists have to have it. I wanted to, as we are coming to the last, few moments of the show, I wanted to also bring up, and I know you've received awards throughout the years. I love this magazine, which was when you were celebrating the 25 years of the Cubop City Big Band.
Yeah.
So
This
and
was for Dutch jazz magazine. Yeah. Jazzism.
yes. But you've also received throughout the years as well, as a musician's awards, different accolades. If you want to mention a few of them as well,
Well, we, I'm proud of the one that's called the global
yes.
global word award. What was it? It's over here. It was the global. No, not the global.
I have it too. I was reading
World Music Award.
Global Act Award 2010.
Global Act
Remaining
Award.
continuously successful as a leading international artist in the world music over a long period of time. You see, that's really important too. The Global Act Award.
I'm not we are not into this business to receive awards or prizes, but it's nice if somebody recognizes what you do, and of course that's fun, But it's nice if people notice it. That's all. But that's the thing that I see a lot of people promoting themselves for getting awards. I find that I don't do that myself. Like vote on me, that's for me a little bit hard. It's like I stay away from that. But if people like to say, okay, Lucas did this or that, and or listeners or drummers, I enjoy that, of course. Who doesn't? It's nice to get some compliments.
And I think it's important. That's why probably I do it, because I know you get shy to do it, and but that's why we're here. At the same time, on your website, you have that beautiful timeline throughout the years of even when you started at 9 years old to do hit on those on those drums.
Yeah.
So many years of things that you have done, and I think it's admirable, and I think it's important that the history stays there for others to get to know more, because you've done it with love, with great passion, because you've done it and you're a professional at it. And again, remember, you are teaching those younger musicians who are your students, and all of them to what you have done. So I think it's also a lesson to, if you may, and I work also at the college, so I know how important it is to teach the students to feel that, yes, they have to be organized, they have to think of business, they have to really leave a legacy, they have to do things seriously and passionately,
right,
in all means.
No, totally, that's important. And I enjoy teaching, working with young people, and also playing with young people. Music, the energy is a little bit different, and I've seen the let's say the great masters. They always also, a part of that job was also guiding young musicians. Like Art Blakey always had young musicians in the band, and Latin musicians as well.
Yes.
And doing that and teaching. It's a very organic natural process. It should be music. Like you learn from the oldest, you play with the youngest, and it's fun. It's and it's important, but most of all, it's fun. Yeah.
No, it's important to find the fun in everything, to love what you do and do what you love, right? It sounds like a cliche, but it's a truth. And again, these are the ones who are just like you are, and we are trying to keep alive the work of others who started with this whole beautiful thing called music, whether it be jazz or Latin jazz or Cuban, Afro-Cuban, or
Right.
other rhythms. It's really we're doing the same thing, setting the pathway, continue with the pathway, and then those who are coming after us, so they continue doing the same. So this music and the history and everything is not lost, and no matter where you are, whether it be in America or in Europe or anywhere, this has to be done. And I'm happy that we're all contributing one way or the other to making it possible and to keeping it alive.
Yes,
So
that's right. Yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
So one last shout out to the new album, which I've been kind of playing in the background as well, and it's exciting. Which again, folks, to pick it up, find it because it's still new. The El Inolvidable, Lucas van Merwijk and Cubop City Big Band. Really, really a treasure to be enjoying this music. If you pick it up, if you get it as a CD, still it's available, or if you just want to get it as a digital as well. I know they can do it through your website, Lucas, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And of course, Cubaneando, Cubaneando, which I do every Wednesday at
Yeah.
7 p.m. on 88.9 FM, heard worldwide at WDNA.org or the mixcloud.com, which also has, and I'm really happy, Lucas, and I just found out last night, I didn't know, but several times talking about those things, I got noticed, and I didn't know that my show, Cubaneando on Mixcloud, for several times has been listed at the on the 15th rank of the global Latin jazz charts and 18th in the global salsa charts of Mixcloud. So I was quite impressed.
Congratulations.
Someone
Well,
said,
Mhm. You're doing great work, and it's keep it up, keep it up. It's fantastic what you're doing, and what I. It's really sometimes I do this kind of interviews, and I seldom do interviews with people so well prepared and knowing what I'm doing. Very often it's the cliche questions, and this has really been a warm bath, like oh, she knows what I did. So thank you very much for that, and all the best with the future shows, and your great and your hard work.
thank you, Lucas. No, and again, I do it with love and passion, and really, I go deep dive, with the investigation, the research of things, and really because it's important, that this thing continues. So I'm happy that again to continue supporting. I congratulate you and the band in the various projects that you're doing. So again, kudos to that. And as always, you'll get you continue getting the support because listeners in Miami that I know you've listed throughout the world. I know, and not only Miami, because this program, as you know, for many years has been heard through the website. So listeners from all over the world still get amazed at the beautiful work that you're doing over in the Netherlands, keeping this and creating all these great projects. So congratulations on that, on the successes. And as always, your music will continue being featured on the shows. So all the very, very best. And thank you for sharing all this with our friends. People, again, will have an opportunity to watch this as a transmission later on. So I'll list it on the chat. Again, any information so folks can follow and keep get your information or get the music themselves as they wish. So thank you again, Lucas.
Super. Thank you very much, Viviam. All the best.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much as well to everyone who joined us. I know comments are still coming in. More. Oh, one last comment that I see coming in. Another listener, another viewer from Spain. So in Avila. So and he's also a radio personality there. So more and more exposure around the world that we continue having, and again, it brings us closer. So I'm happy to see that more people are joining. So thank you everyone who joined us today. Gracias a todos y todas por la amable sintonía, and all the very best to everyone. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye, Viviam.